The little 5-inch monitor that gets mounted to your windshield, your dash. It's got a metal backing on it. We'll go over what that's for a little bit later. And the hard wiring for the power supply. Next up underneath that is all the wiring components and everything it will need. You have the option of doing power one of two ways for the monitor. You can do a cigarette powered lighter, which has a little on-off actuator on here. So when you're not using it, you can turn it off. That way you don't drain your battery. Or you can just, use it to turn it off and on if you don't need it. The other option you have is going to be this, where you can actually hardwire it into power. That way when you key on, key off, it'll actually turn the monitor on, turn it off, or when you go, or if you want to get even more fancy, you can actually hook this up to your reverse switch. Whenever you shift into reverse, this will supply power, so power will turn on the monitor and activate it to where you can have it on when you go into reverse, and then it will shut off when you go back into any of the other selections for drive or neutral or park or whatever. We're not going to do this one because this one's going to be a little more labor intensive than what I want to get into today. So we're just going to go ahead and do the power supply through the cigarette lighter for right now. The only thing I wish they would have had with this cigarette lighter would be a bypass for like a USB port on the side or something, but that's very minimal of a complaint. It's actually, not too bad to have that. Luckily my truck's got 2 cigarette ports. Or power outlet ports, if you want to call them that. So we're going to go with this one instead. Also in here, you have the magnetic mount section. So like I mentioned before, you've got the metal backing on the back of this. This is a magnet actually. So it'll snap on. It's got a pretty good hold on there. So hitting bumps and stuff like that, it's not going anywhere. So it's not going to come off or jostle off. You don't have to worry about that. It's actually a pretty decent magnet. Even magnetizes to bed of my truck. So you got that, and you've also got this. This is a suction cup mount for your windshield. So if you don't want to drill into your dash or permanently mount this anywhere, this will actually suction cup to your windshield, and then this will snap into here as an adapter to get it mounted. I believe that you can also get in here, underneath here, there's like a little screw. You could probably make this work as a mount to your actual dash itself. They mostly go with the sticky suction cup method to get this onto your dash or windshield. So we're just going to do that also for the time being as well. And then last but not least, we've got the camera. This is a wireless camera system. So for those of you guys who want to do a backup camera, but you don't want to have to run all these stupid wires from the front of the truck to the rear of the truck, this will actually wirelessly connect to your monitor, and then you will get a backup camera. So we're going to see how that works. Never tried one of these before, so we're going to install this and get it going. Once we get this out of the package, I'll show you just a little bit more about the camera itself. So now that we got the camera out of the package, let me show you guys a little bit more in depth with this. This basically is going to mount above or below your license plate. So your screws for your license plate are going to go through here, and then it's going to mount right above that. The camera portion actually swivels, so you can adjust it for whatever angle you need your backup camera to be. And then your wiring is pretty much straightforward. You got a power and a ground, and then this is your antenna for the wireless system. So your antenna will actually give the signal out to the monitor will receive that, and then you will have your picture. These just wire up to power and ground of one of your reverse lights. That way the camera comes on when you go into reverse, and then goes off whenever you are in drive or another mode. So this shouldn't be too terribly hard to get wired in. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount it to the license plate, which is down there. And then we are going to run it to, I think, this reverse switch, or reverse light, excuse me. So we'll have to get the cover off, get to the wiring, splice the wiring in, run it down underneath, and then over to the license plate. So let's get that light off and get to cracking at this. So getting your tail light or tail lens off is actually pretty easy. Most models just have a couple screws. The tail light comes right off. You want to make sure you check with your manufacturer's way of getting it done. But for my truck, it's just 2 screws. So let's get this off here. Now, I kind of fibbed a little bit. I said we were going to do it on this side. I think we're going to wire it for this side instead, and here's why. Before I got this truck, somebody tried putting in one of these light bars. You can kind of see it down here. It's one of the ones like you've probably seen on the back of Russ Belt's truck. I know he did a video over it as well. But it's a it's a LED light bar system that does your brake, your reverse, all that kind of stuff. Well, they had it wired in at one point, and everything's just really short, and I don't want to get into this side any more than what I have to. So we're gonna come over here to this side where there's plenty of room to splice into. Got my power, got my ground. What we'll do is we'll splice in here, we'll run it down into the bed of the truck, and then underneath to where the license plate is. So, like I said, let's get to wiring. So as for tools that we're gonna need to do this installation, we're gonna need a pair of snips to be able to cut the wires. We're gonna need a pair of crimpers for our connectors, and we're gonna need a lighter because these connectors have, not only do they have heat shrink in them, but they also have the low temp solder in the middle of them for better connectivity. So we'll need at least these things. If you want to do it on the cheap way and, wire nut them together, I wouldn't recommend that because then they're not solid connections. But, you can install it however you want to install it. But this is how I'm going to go about installing mine with some premium components and get them clipped in right here. Okay, so we've got the wire ran up through the bottom of the vehicle up to here, and like I said, we've got red for power and black for ground. Pretty standard stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to splice these to these wires. That way we have power to the system whenever we have the reverse light on. This part would go so much better if I had a butane torch. Okay, so we got the wiring done. I got the solder points melted. That's my most important part. I will come back and do the heat shrink portion of it later when I have my butane torch from work. So let's get this put back in here, and then we'll worry about doing the license plate portion. So next comes the somewhat easy part of the installation. We just got to take out the 2 bolts here, put this up here, and then tighten it back down. I don't think you guys need a video on how to tighten license plate screws. So this is pretty much going to go here, and then we're going to wrap up all the wiring, stick it up underneath, and then we can move inside to the other portion of getting everything powered on. After everything is all said and done, your installation should look like that. So now what we're going to do is I've got the adapter hooked up to the back of the monitor itself. We're going to pull off the little protective coating here for the sticky stuffs. And we're going to mount this right up there on the window, right above the stereo. So there's a little flip lever right here. That's what helps with suction. So we're going to put that right up here. Matter of fact, I'm going to get the help of my trusty helper. Can you come hold the video camera for me? Hold it right there. Here, I'm gonna hook the position. Right there. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, don't move.
I'll try not to.
Thank you, trusty helper.
You are welcome.
And as you guys can see, it's on there pretty solid. That suction's pretty good. We can probably tighten up the swivel on the mount itself, which we actually can, but we can position this on whatever we need to. I will probably end up hiding this wire as best I can behind my dash. We'll pull the dash here. I've still got to get the stereo finished. We replaced the stereo with a upgraded model, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for this. So we've got power on this side, and we've got our AC right here. So we're gonna flip this open, and this gets plugged in right here. Power button lights up when it's on, and this is just as easy as connecting two ends. Only got one hand, so sorry you guys don't get to see me plug it in, but I'm pretty sure you guys know how to plug stuff in. All right, so we'll hide all that wiring here in a little bit. We're gonna power on. And it says no signal right now, which is fine. Now, they said in the instructions, let me see if I can get this protective covering off this. Plight of not having fingernails. Well, we'll deal with that later. They said to put it on a specific channel, so because that protective covering's on it, I don't know if that's the channel, but we'll get that protective covering off there. I'm gonna go grab my keys, we'll throw this in reverse, and we'll see how things look. Okay, protective covering is off. They said make sure that you have it on channel 8, which we have it on channel 8. Moment of truth, guys. Let's see if Captain Ron put this on correctly. Look at that. We have a backup camera. Works pretty good. There's a little bit of interference, not terribly bad, but for a backup camera that you don't have to do any sort of wiring for, except for wiring and then power, it actually doesn't do too bad job. It's got the guidelines on it, and it does what it's supposed to do. So if we go back into park, it turns it back off. Now start the engine. Put it in reverse, and like I said, it does what it's supposed to do. It's actually a pretty decent system. Like I said, for those of you guys who don't want to go with the matter of wiring a backup camera all the way up here to the front module, wherever you guys hook it into, getting it hid throughout the entire cab of the vehicle, getting it out to the back, all the way out to where you need to put the backup camera in. This is a pretty decent system, especially if you have a truck or a vehicle that is going to be exceedingly long. Then you're looking at a huge amount of wiring that you're going to have to do, so this actually comes in as a pretty decent alternative. And like I said, if you're not using it, you hit the power button, monitor goes off, hit the power button again, takes about 5 seconds, and it comes right back on, and you're ready to go. Well guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to say a big thank you to ERT03 for sending me out this wireless backup system.